may be force-fed.
What time?
As we, they are 12 noon in front of the White House on Friday. As you know, the president of the American Medical Association, not a particularly progressive organization, has said that force-feeding someone against their will is unethical. And so and they're doing it twice a day to the prisoners in Guantanamo Bay. So let me introduce Andres. You may remember him as the founder of Democracy Now! Espanol. You may remember that during the 4 months during the Honduras coup, he was inside the presidential palace with Zelaya reporting live from there. 13 years ago, Andres went on a water-only hunger fast in solidarity with the people of Puerto Rico. And he's also the director of the program on the Americas for the Nonviolence International. He's currently on a water-only hunger strike in solidarity with the Pelican Bay prisoners.
Wow, it's really incredible to look out onto this crowd and to see sisters and brothers and new friends and family, and to feel the incredible solidarity that we are living here. We are taking our time, we are giving of our resources, we are expressing a way that goes totally against the dominant paradigm, which is preparing for war. And we are committing our lives in a different way so that we can be life-affirming in the death cycle. And there's way, way, way too much death. So I just want to share briefly about why I'm fasting and why it's important to reveal in the light of day what is happening in the shadows. Brother Murphy Bay spoke the truth when he said that our sister from Texas, she's a great inspiration. It's because of Diane Wilson that I'm here today speaking to you, because I never would have started the fast without Diane. So Diane, just one more time, let's really give her a break. Diane, it was 7 years ago when you and I conspired, right? It was the Troops Home Fast. And it was one of the most amazing fasts in this country. There were hundreds of people involved, including members of Congress, including Hollywood stars. And they were like, yeah, we're in favor of bringing the troops home fast. And we'll go out and, we'll fast for a day here and a day there. But Diane knew that if there weren't a core group of fasters, the fast would peter out. And so she decided that she would go the distance. And then I said, Diane, if you do that, I will follow you and I will start right after you. Well, it got interrupted. And so she didn't end up going more than, 30 or 40 days. But basically, 30, 40 days, that's nothing for folks like Diane. But it didn't get interrupted this time because Diane went the distance. And then our brother, Elliot Adams, also went the distance. And I want to recognize Tarek. Tarek Tauf is here. Tarek, please stand up. Tarek, we want to say thank you to you. Tarek fasted for over 40 days. 58 days. Wow, Tarek.
That's my inspiration.
They're right over there. We're looking at the sister. That's right. So also, speaking of sisters, our sister, Cynthia Papermaster. Give her a big hand. Cynthia is in Berkeley, California right now. And on the day after tomorrow, Cynthia will end her fast after like 90-some days, 80-some days, 80 days, and she's been taking 300 calories a day, and that's allowed her to go over 80 days. Yeah, babe. Yeah. Well, while he's coming up here, just to finish on those who fasted then, it was Diane, and then Elliot, and then Tarek, and then Cynthia, and then myself. And I am following this great, incredible group of folks who have been fasting. Go ahead, babe.
Look, I don't know if y'all seen this before. I don't know if you've seen this before. Look, my friend had this stuffed in his nose. See this right here? stuff in his nose. Let me see how I can explain this and make it sound right. I guess they put KY jelly on it and slid it down his nose so they could force feed him. And he's a tough guy. He just did it so he could experience the experience that the guys are going through at Colorado Bay. And he's a tough guy. He ain't no sucker, he ain't no punk, he ain't no wiggling. But he couldn't take this. That's right. He couldn't take it. He did it on live camera. He could not take it. He had to stop. So can you imagine somebody chaining you down, sticking this in your nose until it goes down your throat, and force feeding you something to eat that you might not even eat?
That's called torture.
Torture.
It's happening
Cruel and unusual punishment to the extreme.
That's right.
Beyond torture.
Breaking his boundaries.
Every boundary that he ever knew. You understand what I'm saying? Can you imagine that? Just imagine pushing this straw down your throat, then up your nose, and then it turns around and go down your throat. This is much wider, much harder, much firmer, and much longer.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you. So, I had something like this stuck in my nose and go down my throat about 10, 12 years ago. I was in Honduras and I had a very serious stomach ailment. And the doctor said that I had to do an endoscopy, which is they put a camera at the end of one of these tubes and they put it in your stomach to see what's going on there. Well, this doctor was brutal. He was very, very merciless. He was like insulting me because I was having a gag reflex when he was putting a tube down my throat. And it's like, and he's blaming me, and he's saying, why are you starting to throw up? And it's like, why the hell are you putting something down my throat? So it was very traumatic for me. And I can't tell you how it touches me to the core to know that in the name of U.S. taxpayers, we are paying for this torture in Guantanamo twice a day. And it's happening in the shadows. It's happening in the silence. It is happening in the dark. And so what needs to happen is to reveal the fact that this torture is happening every single day. And what Bey is referring to, he's referring to what many people, they know him as Mosbeth. His real name is Yassin Bey. And Yassin Bey was willing to be strapped in that chair and to have these two go up his nose in order to show to the world that this is what they're doing to the Guantanamo prisoners. And very soon, they well could do that to the prisoners in California who have already faced a court order saying that forced feeding can happen to the prisoners on hunger strike in California. I started fasting with them on July 8th of this year. It's now 59 days. And some of them have already been force-fed, but they've been force-fed with intravenous. So it's not as dramatic and it's not as torturous because they don't have to force something down their throat. But it's very likely that in the very near future, the forced feeding with these tubes will happen not only in Guantanamo, but also in California. And so what I have agreed to do is to show to the world, if the media will come at 12 noon in front of the White House the day after tomorrow, we want to show the world what it means to have a tube go up your nose and into your stomach and to be fed. And I've agreed to keep fasting. And I don't know, I honestly can't tell you, I don't know what will happen on Friday. I don't know if I will break down like Yassin Bey did and say stop because it was too much. Or if I'm able to deal with it, then I may be inspired knowing that the torture has not stopped in Guantanamo Bay or in Pelican Bay. And I will say, okay, I'm just going to keep going, and I will be able to fast as long as they've been fasting in Guantanamo, which is since February of this year. And so if it means replicating what they're doing, and I can get through this Friday, that's what I plan to do. But I don't know if I can. And I ask for your support and your spirit, and I feel it here tonight. And so I'm so grateful for all of you, every one of you being here. Thank you. before I go, I just want to tell one very quick story about what I'm holding in this hand. This is an NG tube. It's a nasogastric tube, and it's what's going to be used to feed me 2 days from now. Well, we had a really hard time getting a doctor or a nurse to agree to do the procedure. Finally, late last night, a doctor by the name of Jerry Fitzgerald from Baltimore, he and his wife had been to the vigil at the White House protesting Guantanamo policy. He is going to be there feeding me on Friday. He had no idea that what another doctor found out. The other doctor's name is Mohammed Khalid. Dr. Mohammed Khalid agreed to do the feeding this coming week, this coming Friday, but his schedule ended up changing so that he can't do it. But he agreed to feed me in his office and to take a picture of that and to show the world in that way. So what did he do? He researched getting an NG tube so that he could do that. It turns out that he, as an internal medicine doctor, could not get a hold of an NG tube. They're only available in ERs, in emergency rooms. He, as a doctor, couldn't get a tube except for ordering one, and it would take 3 days. And so I thought, wow, we're not going to be able to get a tube. So what did Dr. Mohammed Khalid do just 3 hours ago? He calls up a friend of his in an ER, and he says, "Hey Jack, my grandmother has an emergency, and she needs an NG tube. Would you get one from the emergency room, and I'll come by and this is exactly what happened." And he said, and I couldn't believe that's the story he made up on the spot, but he was willing to steal this NG tube, which is going to be used at the White House in order to symbolize the torture that's happening every day in Guantanamo and can soon be happening in Tel Aviv.
Understand a little bit more about medicine in America, where doctors have no power at all. So I just wanted to give a little bit of an outline of what we have coming next. We have one more speaker, and then we're going to open it up for some conversation afterwards. You know, we've got to continue this movement. Tremendous work has been done up until this point. There has been some pressure put on the administration and on Congress. There was actually, as you know, a hearing that Dick Durbin did on Guantanamo, the first one in a number of years. So we really have to keep building this momentum, and I hope afterwards we can talk about that and talk about things that we can do in solidarity with those in long-term solitary confinement. You know, it's amazing. Have you looked at what their demands are? The prisoners in Pelican Bay who are on hunger strike? They want things like food that they can eat, programs like education, an end to long-term solitary confinement, which is considered to be torture. These are not unreasonable demands, and I understand that many of these demands were granted to them, but they haven't received them. So I hope that we can continue to push forward for them. It's now my pleasure to introduce two women that we all know and love, Pat and Sandy, and this revolution. Let's give it up for them.
Thank you so much. I'm the revolution. You are the revolution. We're in a good place, as always. I heard a story a while ago now about the detainees in Guantanamo, and there were writings that somebody had collected from the detainees, and there was something so striking about the words of those folks being broadcast on the radio that I sat down. We were going to be singing at a War Resisters League event in New York City, and you know, of course, lots of themes of freedom emerged from those pages, and I was just so struck by the kinds of images that they were drawn to that I wrote this song for the torture survivors organization that was being honored that day. It's not a song that we do all the time, so. Forgive the music stand. It's called Rain.
I listen for the wind, a cricket or a bird, anything to keep my fears at bay. The air is paralyzed, you cannot move beyond these walls, imprisoned like violence inside these chains. Stillness traps the stench, but I dare not hold my breath. I'm living for the coming of the It starts with just a drop that rolls along the seam, then gathers in the corner of my cell. I come from arid land, where water is like gold. It brings a drop of heaven to this hell.
same like cheery, fantastic energy. And that's what determination does, right? We're so grateful to you, Diane. We're so grateful to Andres and all the folks who have fasted and have done things, just things like interrupting John Kerry. That's a good thing. So some of it, those of us who have been doing this together for such a long time, we know that it's about determination to make it through. Oh, you're right. And this song is about that kind of determination. It's the words of Rosa Parks, who after the bus boycott, they asked her, well, how was she feeling? And she said, my feet are tired, but my soul is resting. It's a song written by our friends on the West Coast, wonderful labor singers. Bernard Gilbert, John Fromer. John Fromer's no longer here to sing this song with us, so we sing it. And there's a part for you. I'm going to sing, my feet are tired. And when I get to the part of tired, you're going to sing in your best backup voice. You're going to sing, my feet are tired. So let's try it. My feet are tired. My feet are tired. Nice. And when I do the second one, when I say my feet are tired, you'll say, my feet are tired. And all together we'll sing, say, my feet are tired, but my soul is resting. This is a song that should have been at one of those marches, huh? Were you at those marches Saturday, Wednesday? Yeah, we were too. My feet are tired. My feet are tired. My feet are tired. Yeah, my feet are tired. But my soul is resting. My feet are tired. My feet are tired. My feet are tired.
Lately I must say, I've changed my mind. I want to be freedom in my time. Yes, I am. My feet are tired. My soul is restless. Hear it out. My feet are tired. My feet are tired.
It's great to see you all. It's really great to start the year-ish again. Those who are celebrating Rosh Hashanah, Happy New Year. But for those of us who just know that moment when it's September and you still feel like you have to go back to school, it sort of feels like the beginning of the year too. So it's great to be back with you all.
Gonna keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Never turning back. Never turning back. Gonna keep on moving proudly. Keep on moving proudly. Keep on moving proudly. Never turning back. Never turning back. Gonna keep on singing loudly. Keep on singing loudly. Keep on singing loudly. Never turning back. Never turning back. Gonna keep on loving boldly. Keep on loving boldly. Keep on loving boldly. Never turning back. Never turning back. Gonna reach across our borders. Reach across our borders. Reach across our borders. Never turning back. Never turning back. Gonna keep demanding justice. Keep demanding justice. Keep demanding justice. Never turning back. Never turning back. Gonna put an end to torture. Put an end to torture. Put an end to torture. Never turning back. Never turning back. Stop this wars together. No more chaos. Stop this wars together. Stop this wars together. Never turning back. Never turning back. Gonna keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Never turning back. 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 Never turning back.
What a treat.
Yeah.
You know, it's times like this when I really understand what Chris Hedges means when he says that this is his church. Being together like this with people like you and the fantastic music, it's the greatest place to be. We have one more speaker, and before that I wanted to recognize another person who's in the room tonight. He's in the back, if he can raise his hand. It's Gary Thompson. And Gary is a lawyer for 3 of the prisoners in Guantanamo Bay. Two of them have been released and one is still there. So it's really exciting to have him here with us tonight, and I'm sure we're going to have a great conversation after this. But before that, I wanted to bring up our amazing social live streamer, social media person, Paulina, with Witness Against Women.
Yes, can I hand this off to you?
I guess I am. I'm supposed to go on that, and I'm probably the youngest member. Probably the youngest in this room, except for my niece back there. So we're 20. Everybody in the 80s is here.
Some of us get it earlier than others.
Oh, I see some young people over there too.
Here they are.
Yeah. I'm going to start with a quote from Obama. Yeah, Obama! No, okay.
Obama.
This is from his inauguration speech in 2009. For over 7 years, we have detained hundreds of people at Guantanamo. During that time, the system of military commissions that were in place at Guantanamo succeeded in convicting a grand total of 3 suspected terrorists. Let me repeat that, 3 convictions in over 7 years. Instead of bringing terrorists to justice, efforts at prosecution met setback after setback, cases lingered on, and in 2006, the Supreme Court invalidated the entire system. Meanwhile, over 525 detainees were released from Guantanamo under not my administration, under the previous administration. Let me repeat that. 2/3 of the detainees were released before I took office and ordered the closure of Guantanamo. That was almost 5 years ago now, and it's still open. And then you almost said the same thing, I want to say about 4 months ago, word by word, promising to close Guantanamo. And here we are, 4 months later, and 209 days into a hunger strike, and there's still we had up to 106 detainees that were on hunger strike. Now we're down to about 39. So, and he's released 2 detainees since the hunger strike started in February 6 months ago.
Shame.
Yeah, shame. If he keeps going at that rate, I don't think it's going to close this during this administration. Not even in my lifetime. It's another 40 years. I'm going to be 80. I might die before then. So we got to keep the pressure on. Friday is really important for everybody to come out. With Andres being there, very important because this is the first action that's happened for Guantanamo in the last month. At least for me. Last time I went out and did something was a month ago at the Senate Hart Building. And I think that's around the same time as I had some other, a couple of you went there too.
July 30th.
Yeah, you got arrested? Did you get
Yeah.
arrested? Okay. Yeah, that was about a month ago.
July 30th, yeah.
Yeah, it's been about a month, and 200 days was last Saturday. The only place that had a vigil was in London, the UK, not even in the United States, so it's been sidelined already for Obama.
Every Friday at noon at the White House.
Okay. Right, there, I mean, there is the vigil every Friday too. But it's been pretty much out of the headlines, out of the media again, and also, unfortunately, for Obama too, especially with Syria in the news. It's been sidelined. So very important for everybody to come out. If you can't come out, pass on our website, closekimo.net. We are streaming this here right now, so people are watching. I know Sherry from closekimo.net was going to come out. She's watching too, and Cynthia Papermaster on her 80th day tomorrow or today is watching. So, and on our website, we also have an actions tab where you can take action, like things that you can do, because I think at this point I don't think Obama can close it, but